Dear waiting moms, welcome to another episode of Becoming Moms podcast. My name is Dr. Tien. I'm a pharmacist and a fertility coach, and I'm your host. After almost 2 years of my own trying to conceive journey with irregular cycles and insulin resistance, I can understand how challenging and lonely it is to be on this journey. And at the beginning of 2022, I was able to regulate my cycles and fall pregnant naturally, as well as improve my insulin resistance by lowering my A1C down to a normal range after only 6 weeks. I am now on a mission to help all of you waiting moms find a better, more balanced way to optimize your hormones and your body in order to increase your chances of conceiving without feeling like you have to be on any restrictive diet or crazy amount of medication or supplements. I know I don't want to do that, so I don't want you to have to go through that either. Okay, so let's get in today's episode. If you're trying to conceive but you're not sure when you're ovulating, it can make things a little bit hard, right? To figure out when to have intercourse and create that little baby miracle that you've been waiting for. I was in the same boat with you about 3 years ago, actually. My baby's about to turn 1 in a month. She's actually is 11 months old today. It's kind of crazy. But anyways, so I don't have regular period or cycle ovulation. And most of the time when you have hormonal imbalances or PCOS, your ovulation might not be month to month either. And it can make trying to conceive and predicting your ovulation really difficult and frustrating, especially if you've been on this journey for a long time. Most people that I've seen who are still on this journey and trying to conceive, they do use some sort of ovulation tracking method. Mostly it's through an app or a LH strips, right? To check for the LH surge, which is a hormone that increases during your most fertile window, which is your ovulation window. So doing that alone, even though that is the most common way that most women are using to track their ovulation, so that's what I started doing as well when I was trying to conceive. It was not the best method for me, at least because I wasn't actually ovulating all this time that I was checking my LH surge. Although sometime I would see the line get a lot darker, so that would tell me that it is positive, and I would think that I'm ovulating, but then I really wasn't. And I kept doing that. I kept using the ovulation kit at home and checking to see if I have any LH surge. One day it will be high, another day it will be low, and I just kept bouncing back and forth, and the result was super confusing. Because actually, if you don't know already, if you have PCOS and your hormones are not following the normal pattern that regular cycle woman has, you can have LH surges throughout your cycle and you're not actually ovulating. And another thing is LH surges, they don't confirm ovulation. They just predict your ovulation. And actually, a lot of methods are just prediction of ovulation. And the only thing that can confirm ovulation without going to your doctor is actually checking your basal body temperature. But that's going to be another whole episode on that. We're actually talking about a different method today to predict. It's still a prediction of ovulation, but it's a better prediction than the LH surges. So I'm actually talking about checking your cervical mucus for discharge. A lot of time, if you have been on this journey for a while, you know the egg white cervical mucus is something you want to look for. in the fertile window when you're ovulating. And that's what I started using instead. So having or being able to check and look for cervical mucus patterns really helps you figure out when is the actual time that you're ovulating. So I did notice that I never really had any egg white cervical mucus before. Hello, hello. It's Dr. Promlab here interrupting your episode to let you know that I actually have a full training on how to regulate your cycle to increase your pregnancy chance in less than 6 months. So, this is a free training that I have created for you all to really focus on what you can do daily to help you improve your ovulation and insulin resistance if you have it. It actually will provide you with a no fear strategy to help you transform your relationship with your PCOS symptoms without any restrictive diet. A lot of the time, I hear that P- patient with PCOS can feel super tired and have no energy, or insomnia, things like that. All of that really are based on your hormone imbalances, and we're going to go over that to figure out what hormone triggers you have in order for you to work with your body, and not have to be on a restrictive diet. You're also actually going to get a step-by-step guide to regulate your ovulation and cycles. I know with PCOS, a lot of the time you do have an irregular cycle. I know for me, I would only get one cycle every 6 months. So even when I was trying to conceive, I wasn't ovulating. So I wasn't even trying at all, really. And I went from only having 2 cycles per year to actually having 6 to 8 cycles per year, which is pretty good for me. And we're going to go over exactly how I did that. And finally, we're going to touch on key changes that you can make so you can optimize your body and your hormones without having to take a ton of medication or supplements. I didn't take any medication or supplements while I was trying to conceive because I just felt like nutrition was a better and more natural way of doing things. And it really helped me a lot. And I know it can help you too. So maybe you are just starting out on your trying to conceive journey and you're just a bit confused on what exactly you need to do. Or if you've been on this journey for a while and you've tried everything under the sun just to get that big fat positive pregnancy test, but no matter what you do, you're not getting the result that you want, right? And actually, no matter where you are on your trying to conceive journey, right? All you want to do is to meet your baby and to have that family that you've always dreamed of. So, if you want to achieve this dream, you want to make this dream a reality, and you want access to this free training that I have for you, all you have to do is go to drpromlabwellnesscorner.com/free-training and go ahead and watch this amazing free training and let me know if you found this helpful at all for you. I like to know if I can make it even better for you in the future, or if you found that it was helpful now, let me know what you liked about it. And you can always just send me a message on social at Dr. Promlat Wellness Corner. Okay, well, let's get back into today's episode. And that was because I was on birth control for 10 years plus. Using birth control actually, one of the mechanisms that it prevent you from getting pregnant is drying up your cervical mucus. So making your uterus and your cervix not an inhabitable environment for sperm to stay there, and also it's not the good, basically it's not an environment where you would be able to grow a fetus anyways, right? So that's one of the mechanism why hormonal birth control works in preventing pregnancy. So being on it for a long time, so it doesn't matter if you take the pill or the patch or you have injections or you have the vaginal ring or the copper ring. Actually, no, copper is not hormonal. So if it is hormonal birth control, it has to produce hormones. That's the reason why it's drying up your cervical mucus, right? So one of the reason that you might not be able to see that, at least for me, because I didn't start seeing cervical mucus until I made changes in my nutrition and my diet. Actually, for the full two plus, no, actually around 2 years mark of my trying to conceive journey, I never really paid attention to cervical mucus, and I don't even think I had any to begin with. Not until I made changes in my diet, where I started seeing cervical mucus, and then I started thinking that, oh, maybe this actually is something I should be paying attention to. And it was something I should be paying attention to because it was a way better indication of my ovulation. And it took me about 3 cycles to track my cervical mucus, on top of also tracking my LH search. So I would notice the, egg white cervical mucus as the prediction of my ovulation. And then I would also use the LH search as a second check to see if I was ovulating or not. And like I said, so both of these are still just prediction of ovulation. They don't actually confirm ovulation. So without using basal body temperature to confirm your ovulation, the doctor can also help confirm ovulation, but that's also only after it's already occurred, so you basically miss your chance of conceiving that cycle if you went to the doctor and you check your progesterone level, or if you check for an ultrasound to see if you're producing a follicle. So keep in mind that there are other factors that also affect the quality of your cervical mucus. And if you are able to produce really good and high quality cervical mucus, it makes predicting ovulation so much easier, even if you have irregular cycle and hormone imbalances and PCOS. So that's one of the things I do recommend that you start tracking on top of using LH strip. And this is additional step, right? So making your journey in creating this baby a lot harder most of the time when you feel you're having to track your ovulation, and then you have to figure out when is the best time to baby dance, and you have to keep a good proper nutrition diet and all of the things that you're trying to do right now to create this miracle. I know it's a lot, and I know that it's can be very lonely and frustrating. That's how I felt the whole time I was going through this. And we my husband and I would sometimes having argument where he didn't understand why I was so stressed out all the time and why I made such a fuss that we needed to baby dance like immediately or today or whatever schedule that we were having, because that was my only chance of conceiving, right? So to me, it made sense that we need to baby dance right now, like scheduling your sex life and creating sex on demand was not helping at all. But you're trying to do all the right thing, and you're trying to keep a schedule, and you're trying to figure out your body. And this whole biology thing is such a confusing topic to begin with. Like, I'm a woman, and most of you listening also women, but we don't understand our body half the time, and that's just the norm, right? So this journey can be very frustrating and lonely and overwhelming a lot of the time. So that's why I created this podcast, to share some of my insights with you guys. And I welcome any question, of course. So let's get back into other ways that you can have better high quality cervical mucus, right? So we talked about using hormonal birth control for a long time can hinder that. So if you have been taking hormonal birth control for a very long time, coming off of that will be the first step in helping your body rebuild your cervical mucus and creating quality ones, right? And also don't expect that to happen immediately either. If you've been on it for a while like me, it did take some time for it to well, 6 months later, when I stopped my birth control, is when I had my first cycle. So yeah, it was a long time for my body to become more regular, of course. And then one of the other thing that I talked about all the time on here, because I feel like it's the key to everything, is having a well balanced and proper nutrition diet. And poor nutrition is actually one of the reason why you're not seeing high quality or any actually cervical mucus as well. So because I was eating a not very nutritious diet. Well, actually, it was a healthy diet, but I don't. Well, you didn't see my air quote, but I had air quote around healthy diet because I thought I was eating a healthy diet, right? But actually, having a proper nutrition that is especially good for hormones, health, and PCOS, as well as your insulin resistance, is a better choice if you are trying to conceive and also increase, this actually works for everything, right? And we talked about a quality cervical mucus quality as well is another reason why you should have a really good diet while you're trying to conceive. And it's not just for weight loss. A lot of the time people with PCOS are on that weight loss side. And actually, it can help. But even if you are not wanting to lose weight, because a lot of us are also, 'cause I was on the smaller frame for having PCOS. So my doctor didn't even think I have it. Well, actually, I don't even have a diagnosis of PCOS, but I have all the symptoms, but they won't diagnose me with it because I guess I just don't fit all the boxes and don't check all the boxes um, for a diagnosis. But yeah, a better diet will also benefit you even if you don't need to lose weight, because having high quality cervical mucus will help you track your ovulation more confidently, and you're not always confused and looking at the LH surges and levels and wondering if you are ovulating or not. Because I was there and I would think that I'm ovulating with just the LH surges, and then we would do our baby dance, and then I would think I'm in my 2 week wait. But 2 weeks later, negative test, over and over and over for 2 years. I was stuck in that cycle, right? And didn't know how to get out of that. And I thought this was it. Like I I'm just not ovulating, clearly, because I'm not getting pregnant. So being able to nourish yourself with proper nutrition will do you a huge favor in tracking your ovulation a lot better. And the last thing is kind of silly. Was not silly, but it's just so simple, because dehydration is actually one of the reasons that you're not seeing good high quality cervical mucus. Because m- as you can tell, right, most the component of cervical mucus is just water. And if your body is dehydrated and doesn't have enough water to allocate to other things, and just using all the water it has to keep you alive, is not going to allocate any water in the making of cervical mucus, and that would just be all dried. So that's another reason why you should drink more water if you don't already. And this is anybody, and most recommendation for water and hydration is just 8 cups of water per day. And you can even drink more if you want to, but I would start at just 8 cups of water per day, and that should help increase your cervical mucus quality for sure. But that's not the only thing that will help, right? We talked about nutrition, we talked about birth control, and of course, water is another big thing as well. That's me taking a sip of my water. So, if you don't see any cervical mucus, even if you are doing all of these things, it can mean that you are not ovulating. Okay. Um, that would be something we need to explore further in figuring out how we can help you ovulate naturally if it's something that you are wanting to do. But a lot of the time you can also go to your doctor and get a medicated option. I believe that we've talked about letrozole and clomid before, and I'm actually going to have an episode where we talk about these two medications and comparing them and how effective they are basically for inducing ovulation. And that's a whole other topic, right? But so those are options to help you ovulate. And most of the time it can work. I feel like it's more 50-50. I've seen half the women who have taken these medications said that it works for them, and then the other half is not working. So that's why it's a whole other topic, and I want to save that for another episode. But going back to this tracking of your ovulation. So if tracking ovulation are making you kind of stressed out, right? And you're feeling lonely and you're feeling like you want to give up on this journey because it's just too much to do, or if you've reached a point where you've tried everything and nothing is working, and you don't want to keep going through the same thing over and over and keep getting big fat negative tests over and over, then we do have ways to coping with our stress and our, I guess, this journey can be lonely. So just your mental well-being in general is something that you want to pay attention to, right? And if tracking ovulation is not something that is serving you right now, and you're not wanting to do anything, basically you just want to let everything go and have a natural, more carefree experience in wanting to conceive or trying to conceive, definitely do that as well. I'm not saying that you have to do this. I'm not saying that this is the only way to get pregnant, right? People have gotten pregnant without doing anything. Like, you know, that you've seen all the pregnancy posts on social media, and sometimes it happens, right? Congratulations for all those people. But it can be difficult when you are going through this journey alone and you seeing all of these posts online. I have an episode about that, so if you want to check that out, I think that was one of the first episode I posted about navigating, social media and other people pregnancy posts. But like I said, it's not something that I'm forcing you to do. You don't have to do anything I say, actually, if you don't want to. But I hope that if you feel like you're still in this journey and you still are motivated and have momentum and have support from your partner, from your family, from your friends to continue on this journey, even from your provider too, that's something I want you to start trying to see if you can track your cervical mucus. And if you're having a hard time, seeing any kind of cervical mucus producing, I do recommend trying to increase your water intake. We talked about that. And also eat a better diet, less processed food, more wholesome, more fiber, whole grains, anything that basically grows from the earth. are non-processed, and those are the things that's going to help you tremendously in ovulating and conceiving. Well, that's all for today's episode of Becoming Moms. I hope you really enjoyed it and you found it helpful. And if you resonate with everything that I talked about today and you feel like you want to learn more, you want to learn how to truly create sustainable changes that will ensure that you will be able to effortlessly fall pregnant and find freedom from dieting, freedom from killing yourself over at the gyms days in and days out, freedom from all those medication and supplements that you're currently on, so you can stop worrying about your future and stop worrying about if you ever become a mom and start enjoying your baby making journey again. Start living your dream as your reality, right? That probably is just going to have the family that you've always wanted instead of constantly living fear and feel stuck on your trying to conceive journey. Then I really invite you to connect with me. I want to get to know you better and I want to show you how I can make all of that happen for you, right? We'll actually chat for 45 whole minute where we'll hash out a strategic plan to help you see that regulating your cycles and ovulation isn't all that impossible anymore. But I'll only want you to reach out if you feel like you are 110% committed to your health and that you are ready to take massive action to make it happen, okay? Because we can both talk and talk until we're both blue in the face, but if you are not willing to invest in your health, not willing to invest in yourself, then nothing we can say can really change anything, right? So if you really think that is you and you are ready to see where your powerful self can really take you, then all you gotta do is go to drpromlatwellnesscorner.com/apply and book a free roadmap call with me. I am committed to you and your health, and I will work with you until you are successful. During the session, we will evaluate where your strengths are and what's currently working for you, and then we'll take a look at what we can improve upon, as well as mapping out a plan for you to get there. And then if you are a really good fit, I'll actually offer you a spot in my Becoming Moms community where we will work further with you on how to create a more sustainable and less restrictive way so you can actually optimize your hormones in your body to increase your chances of conceiving without having to think about if you'll ovulate this month at all. Also, make sure to fill out the little short survey attached to our call before the session. So I have a bit of a background on you to better prepare and plan for our session to make sure that you will get the most out of your time with me. Okay, well, I can't wait to speak with you soon. Until then, sending you lots of baby dust.